Hello YouTube, I'm Scotty Deluxe, but on this channel you can call me Quetch. Here we cover all things current Final Fantasy XI. And today is a spicy one. We've got some campaign stuff, a brand new lock style piece of item that kind of came out of absolutely nowhere. And in addition to that, some patch notes for the upcoming September patch. What month is it? The upcoming September patch that also no one was expecting. So we've got a great video today, and we're just going to get started and jump into kind of the current activities going on in the game. So here we go. So for starters, Day of the Shadowlord. All right, so this event is running from August 30th to September 30th, so it's already started. So you can do this, you know, the moment this video drops if you haven't been aware of it. But basically, you fight the Shadowlord BCNM, and you can get drops for lock style. So these are the Shadowlord's weapons. The Extinction and the Nihility, they have a little bit of a different model, but the cool thing is you could totally like dual wield them. And then the Lament is the Greatsword. Also, this Greatsword is one of the few red proc Greatswords for doing red procs in Abyssia. Very easy to get here. This event doesn't come around that often if that's something you need. Plus it looks sick. So that's that. It's the HTBF Shadowlord. Pretty easy to do. They do tell you here that you can obtain the items at any difficulty, but it's got a higher drop rate on the higher levels. So that's that. Moving on. For people who keep an eye on the We Are Vana'diel, where they do interviews with different, you know, game designers and people of FF11's past, or just Square Enix in general, that has been updated. There's a couple of new Vanariums, I think. Yeah, they've got a lot now. The Vanariums are great. There's Providence Watcher, Walk of Echoes. Aw, so good. So yeah, definitely take a look at the We Are Vana'diel website if that's something that interests you. Next up, the honestly already infamous Denim pants. This is not a joke. These are real, friends. I mean, I'm kind of like saying it's kind of a joke, but honestly, I'm glad that SE is being a little bit more creative. This is pretty much all new, and we don't see that super often. You know, obviously, like FF14 gets this stuff a lot. There's a lot of it, so you have a lot of variety, and people that have all sorts of different tastes in the way they dress up their character have a lot of options. 11's options, there's a lot of cool stuff out there, but you know, there's nothing wrong with more variety. So some people are going to love this, other people are going to hate it. You got the whole spectrum. You know, some people just won't care. Some people are, I don't want denim pants in my Final Fantasy XI. Sure. But yeah, so that'll be available for 500 points. I think it was mentioned that you can also synergize these, so there's going to be a +1 version when you synergize two together. That's going to, I don't know, dispense portable Walkman. I don't know. In addition to that, we have some of these pop items for these fights, these like story-based fights with cosmetic gear. At the 300 point, wow, is this the cheapest these have ever been? The Rem's Tail is usually more expensive than this, I think. Oh, see, look, 750 for the 6 through 10. So maybe I'm just mistaken. But yeah, Rem's Tails, cosmetics, denim pants, it's all here. Now, moving on to campaigns. They'll be starting on Tuesday, September 13th. That seems a little late in the month, so I guess we're not getting the update till probably the 11th or 12th. I guess that's only maybe a day later than normal. Or maybe I'm just used to campaigns being on a different schedule because of the past few months. I don't know. First thing that you see here is kind of crazy. We're getting Chain EXP and Chain Capacity Point bonus campaign again. That is 3 months in a row. I don't know if that's ever happened, but here it is. Nice. I mean, I know I put off, there was so much to do last month that I kind of put off job mastering stuff I wanted to do. And now it's kind of like I'm getting the chance to forget to do it again. Chain Monstrosity obviously always goes along with those and isn't super relevant in today's game. Next up, increased seal and crest drop rate, which of course is your Beastman seals and whatnot. And this comes along with the additional seal Battlefield Spoils campaign, as usual. So this one is the Predator fight. So this is Eye Seals. So these are the fights that can drop the Eye Seal coupons, which give you the seals you need to upgrade a piece of Empyrean gear. Always welcome, especially if you missed it a few months ago when it was around and you're wanting to make your Empyrean +2 gear from the new sortie and you don't want to go out and farm seals. Here's your chance. I'm glad they brought this back this month in particular. Neo Nizul. Uncharted. So this again is a sort of lottery system where you go in, you look for NMs, they drop chests, and those chests give you question mark items that can be appraised into pulse weapons, Orpheus Sash, EPAM ring. There's a couple of really big hitters in the pool. I think the Srata stuff is in there as well. So NNI is always fun, and sometimes you get lucky. If you're looking for a pulse, it's a really good way to also have a chance to high roll for other valuable items. Mog Gardens campaign, they brought this one back again, so this was here last month. Goblins to 880 allows you to skip a gobby bag upgrade by just buying it. It's 100k. You can get 2 Adeline and you can get 2 your Mog Garden. I believe at level 1, I think there's like a cutscene or something. So if you're looking to upgrade your gobby bag, if you're looking to upgrade your gobby bag, this is an easy way to do that and doesn't have much prereq. On to Wildskeeper Reeves Plus again. You get 4 HP bailed per Wildskeeper Reeves you fight. In addition to, they drop their vouchers, which allow you to trade for various gear from that would drop from these mobs. So that's the Wildskeeper Reeve Plus. Again, I think this was last month, so it's weird that it's back. Campaign Fiesta. You can earn special rewards by doing the old school content campaign, 100 bind bills, LJade shells, etc. Not often done. I've heard a couple people say they do this occasionally. It's not nearly as valuable. You could probably make more gil just by spamming Wildskeeper Reeves. Oh, the reduced cost. Don't forget the reduced cost in the Wildskeeper Reeves. It's like 1,500 bailed or something to enter, and then you make like 8 or 10k when you go in. So it's really good and probably going to be definitely more valuable on average versus the time spent. Better ROI. Skirmish Stone and Arcane Glyptics campaign. This one is always useful to people who are leveling up jobs that use these various pieces of gear. Although there aren't many remaining in the current in use currently in the game, I always think of the Gendwith Gauges +1 are like a bard item that you need. Other than that, a lot of this stuff is outdated. Void Watch campaign. Oh, maybe I'll finally hit this up. So this is where you spend your Void Stones in order to fight, like Killing, ALO, and stuff to get heavy metal plate pouches or heavy metal plate singles or Rift Cinders. Good money campaign, especially if you have an older account and you haven't used your Void Stones. Definitely check your Void Stone stock because this can be a lot of gil in a very short amount of time. But of course, those Void Stones only accrue once every X number of hours. So, for example, I'll skip a couple of these in a row, over the course of like 6 or 7 months, and then I'll have like multiple hundred Void Stones in order to go in and earn some gil. And I think I'm actually at that place where I have a few hundred pops. Gaia's Feet Plus. Defeating monsters in Eshka areas will yield double the amount of silt. Additionally, personal rewards from Gaia's Feet will be increased by 2 items, and players will receive either an Eshka Elixir, or +1 or +2. Or in Ryzenjima, Pellucid Stones, Fern Stones, and Top Stones. Here's the way this works. See the Ryzenjima Gaia's Feet equipment campaign below for information on that campaign, because this one is simply for 2 additional direct drops used for augmentations. So essentially, you're going to get extra Elixirs, extra Silt, and in Ryzenjima, players will receive Pellucid Fern or Top. This campaign does not allow for additional equipment drop. The first slot is still the only possible direct drop for equipment. So this campaign, this campaign does not help you get more gear drops. That's what I wanted to say. Oh, Ryzenjima Gaia's Feet equipment campaign. For the duration of the campaign, vanquishing NMs in Ryzenjima will yield an additional personal reward from that notorious monsters pool. Let's just go back and check that. An additional slot opens up for direct drops from Gaia's Feet in Ryzenjima. This provides players with an extra chance to obtain their spoils as direct drops. So there you go. So this campaign gives you an extra drop slot for your gear. Abjuration Dial, bad. I mean, every once in a while you get lucky and get the exact abjuration you're looking for, but a lot of the abjurations that are in this dial are outdated. Monster rearing campaign, reared creatures will be twice as likely to transform for the duration of the campaign. Good if you're trying to transform a monster that is in your Mog Garden and you're having a hard time with that. Always helpful for people who are working on those. If you don't know, rearing monsters gives you access to a memento that you can basically have one active at a time. And like, for example, I use the one that has like a 2% attack bonus or something. So I always have an extra attack on all my jobs that I wouldn't have if it weren't for that. There's also like a run speed one, which I used to use a lot. Chocobo digging skill increase. For the duration of the campaign, chocobo digging skill will be more likely to increase each time your chocobo digs. Remember that chocobo digging is a hidden skill in the game and doesn't really have much value in today's game, but for people who like to do chocobo related stuff, you have both the choco digging skill and the hyper chocobo digging campaign at the same time. This is the perfect combo, actually. I would say if you ever had an interest in doing this, you really want both of these like this. They don't always do both, and it says here when they used to do it, experience gains will be properly applied even though there are no changes. Okay, I see. So what this is saying, now the way you know your hidden chocobo digging skill is the time between digs. If you just mash the dig button, it'll say take 20 seconds and then 20 seconds and then 20 seconds. And you go up a level in your hidden chocobo digging skill. After the first like handful of levels, once you go up a level, that's time decreases. So you go from like 20 seconds to like 18. I don't remember the actual numbers. But now it's 18 between digs. You know, you go up another level now, it's 15 between digs, whatever those numbers are. So that's really the most concrete way to know what your current chocobo digging skill is at. During the hyper chocobo digging campaign, you are floored. So you have the minimum dig time between digs. So you won't know when you've gone up. How useful is that? I don't know. Let's move on. Macrocosmic Orb campaign, which is interesting because this is concurrent with the Battlefield Spoils campaign. So you have another place to spend your seals, and this is the one with the nice loot pool. You can get really lucky and get Abjuration gear to drop, the HQ Abjuration gear, but it's kind of a high roll. But there's also, like, I don't know, if you're interested in this, check out the loot pools for this campaign. Omen Job Card campaign, very nice. So final two here, Omen Job Card and Ambuscade Gallantry. Omen Job Card, obviously very good. We've had it a couple times in the past few months and is always welcome. I'm glad they're kind of keeping it more often, especially when we're now working on upgrading Empyrean +2, making people sweat over their Artifact +2. Kind of rude. So, good thing we're here. And Ambuscade Gallantry campaign stacks with your seal, so always use a seal on your first run of Ambuscade in a day. And assuming you want more from the Gallantry, it'll be doubled and then tripled, so it's like 6x. So that's campaigns. Now normally I would stop here and we'd make an update video on the day of, but we are going to be talking about patch notes, or I guess patch preview, the September version update announcement, because there's some stuff in here that is really spicy and some things that are actually going to be relevant to you prior to the update, okay? Good day, adventurers. Mitsui here with your monthly dose of FF11 information. The team was originally a little worried whether you all would be able to tackle the objectives within Sortie without any hints, but it seems those fears were unfounded. I must admit that I was impressed with the speed at which some of you managed to figure out all the tricks. What's interesting here is it was probably 3 days ago when we uncovered the last of the Sortie stuff. So I don't know when this was written, but it's kind of cool that we got all the way basically to this update without, and then finally found how all of the mechanics work. Let's get into September, shall we? This month we're bringing you the second entry in Chapter 9 of the Voracious Resurgence. Those of you who love Adeline will be thrilled to know that we'll be going into somewhere in the city that has previously been off limits to players. Love it. This is SE really pushing the boundaries of what they're willing to do in-game. Like, there was such a long period of time where we weren't getting cool stuff like this. So, anyway. Thus the woohoo. Additionally, proceeding with the scenario will enable players to embark on their journey to craft the prime weapons. These armaments not only play a vital role in the storyline, but will eventually be able to be powered up further, so keep that in mind. Wow. Now, I'm not sure if the word craft here is being used in the literal sense. If somebody knows how to translate Japanese, maybe they can comment onto whether this is the word craft is the same word that is used when referring to, you know, the crafts in the game, you know, leather craft, you know, bone craft, stuff like that, alchemy. I'm curious because if it is, it would be strange because obviously these weapons are going to be for all jobs. So I don't know. Or all the jobs are going to have their own prime weapons. These armaments not only play a vital role in the storyline, but eventually be able to be powered up further. So they're basically giving us stage 1 prime weapons this month. Okay? So for those of you who weren't caught up on TVR, I thought Sortie would be your, watershed moment, but it's going to be here. So you're going to need to get to the end of, not Sortie, the end of TVR in order to start working on your prime weapons. There's a lot of cutscenes and a lot of time spent, so start working on it today, if you haven't already. Additionally, we are placing new Locust monsters in KRT, King Rampier's Tomb, for all your exemplar point needs. I actually wanted this and said it in a previous video. I think it was roughly the Crawler's Nest video, and I remember someone commenting on the YouTube video and saying like, "Oh, we already have hand-to-hand camps where you can get ML. It's called like Inner Rakazner." And I'm like, yeah, but like KRT would be cool. It has that old school feeling, and can you imagine like a 4 monk, 1 bard, 1 core, or 3 monk bard core white mage or something? Oh, I'm excited. KRT was one of my nostalgic places for getting merit points back in the day. These monsters are quite active, so proper pulling techniques might be a little more valuable than normal. These creatures differ slightly from those in Tanjana, so hopefully you'll find one camp or the other more suited to your style. Chat, explain to me what all that meant while I move on. Additionally, and this is where this patch is going to be affecting you, the player, more so than normal right now, is additionally, we've made a couple adjustments to Crawler's Nest Shadow Rain. We know that some players enjoy the strategy of having one party gather up all the monsters and nuke them down. But at present, it is possible to have the entire stomping grounds be monopolized by one party, which can have an adverse effect on the other players. Therefore, we have changed the camp a little bit so that there are both Apex and Locust monsters in the vicinity. Additionally, we have increased the exemplar point reward from Locust monsters, as players have found them a bit tougher to tackle than their Apex brethren. Makes sense to me. I think a number of players were calling out for the Locust to give higher rewards, because by the time you're killing 1 Locust mob, you've killed, you've AoE'd down 5 Apex, So the points weren't in line. Like, for example, if gears were like doubled their value, like I would 100% go back to gears. Like cleaving in Crawler's Nest is really good, but it doesn't have to be the only good spot. Now, I wonder if they're adjusting anything else besides just adding Locust monsters, because even if they are, I think a good Paladin will still be able to pull just fine. We'll see. They might adjust the way mobs aggro. They might adjust the way AoE damage affects the Crawler's Nest mobs, like they did with the Calibri they added a couple months ago. Finally, we are pleased to see so many of you enjoying Sortie. We are keeping a close eye on the congestion issues. Many of you congestion issues, like a lot of that's been resolved. Just due to people doing content in different times now. We have made some behind-the-scenes changes to ensure that excess instances areas are not generated, which we hope will alleviate the issue somewhat. Is this referring to people that are getting like into limbo? Were they like generating an instance that didn't exist or something? I don't know. We are keeping an eye on this issue and will consider making further changes if the situation warrants it. Okay, well either way, they're releasing as part of this patch a fix to Sortie of some sort. Great. I would also like to apologize for the issue in which some players would have their Sapphires and Gallimaufry vanish into the ether. Oh no, we are planning to give compensation to those who have been affected by this problem, and will provide further information when the version update notes are released in a few days. Please refer to them when the time comes. Yeah, okay, cool. So if this happened to you, you're getting comped. Nice. Tokyo has been a bit cooler than usual the past few days, and I'm crossing my fingers that fall will soon be upon us. Of course, when I think of fall, I think of the Blazing Buffaloes event, which this year has a neat new reward associated with it. There's also a new beef-related food item coming in September as well. Until next time, see you in Vana'diel. This hasn't been put up as an announcement on the webpage yet, so I'll talk about this on update day when I do a video going over the actual changes that come when the update comes. Of course, they're just telling us about things here. We'll find out the real workings when the patch releases. But September is going to be giving us monthly objectives, new quests to TVR, Ambuscade change out, new title, probably related to TVR. Areas, adjust amount of experience earned from defeating certain monsters, that's the Locust. Adjust monster spawn locations, that's the Locust. Remove level difference penalty from certain areas, that means they're adding a new fight in TVR to an older zone, probably Adolin. September, new synergy recipes. It's going to be their denim pants. Synthesis recipes, that's going to be your beef item. Added new items, that's going to be your prime weapons stage 1, if not more. Porter Moggle, add new Porter Slip. That will likely be your Empyrean +2. Add to list of supported items. If not, it's that. So, really awesome patch coming up. This is exciting. I really felt like October was just going to be sit back and chill, keep up on Sortie, well, you know, a little bit of new story in Chapter 9 of TVR, and then maybe October, did I say October? September was going to be kick back and chill, do some Sortie, keep up on things, and then possibly, and then of course TVR, like Chapter 9 finishing, and then, you know, October, you know, Chapter 10, because that leads into November, which is going to be when they add new MLs. Like, here we are in September getting a really great update, and I'm excited for it. So that's going to do it for today's video. Comment down below. Tell me what you think about the new Stage 1 Ultimate weapons. Give me your thoughts on what you're looking for or what's interesting to you. And we're going to check it out together on Update Day. Anyway, that's it for today's video. I'll see you next time. Peace out, YouTube.